I'm Andy Livengood. I understand that without proper planning, a show can go bad. Hazard preparedness in real life is even more important. From sea level rise and flooding to insurance and earthquakes, I'll help cut through the jargon and make preparing for a disaster so easy, even a comedian can do it. This is Hazard. Sunny, wide sand beaches, historical landmarks and architecture, world-renowned food and entertainment. Yes, Charleston, South Carolina seems to have it all for the leisurely explorer. But what about those of us that crave adventure, yearn for excitement? The natural setting of the Lowcountry offers the daring, exceptional opportunities for close encounters with Mother Nature's fiercest elements. Venomous snakes, sudden supercell storms, really big puddles. A thrilling escape awaits for those who dare. Stick around for the Adventurer's Guide to Charleston, now on Hazard. Okay, so first things first. If you're a thrill seeker like me, you also must appreciate that the hazards of the Lowcountry are pretty serious threats. Only adventurers with experience should take these dangers head on. That's why we hired a field correspondent for today's program. A special expert in tempting fate, a man who defies traditional touristing to get a real insider's look at the elements, and looks good while doing it too. Welcome, Randy. I understand you've been spending some time in Charleston and know just how a smart explorer can discover this great city.
Thanks for having me, Andy. I love sharing my wisdom with the world. You know, one thing I like about visiting Charleston is the imminent threat of a major earthquake.
I'm not sure you know what imminent means. There hasn't been a major earthquake in over 130 years.
I get that, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. The greater Charleston area is the most tectonically active region in the East Coast. It's exciting to know that one of these could just pop off at any moment, but we can't be stupid about it. That's why I like to practice what to do in an earthquake.
And that is?
Drop, cover, hold on. Please allow me to demonstrate. Drop, cover, and hold on.
Wow, Randy, well, keep up the good work. It's true, the Lowcountry does see regular earthquakes, but many are too small to notice. Though in 1886, the Charleston area crumbled under the force of an estimated 7.6 magnitude event. While it's not likely to happen on your visit, there's no reliable way to predict when an earthquake might happen. Randy's advice is good. Drop, cover, and hold on to something, but grab something other than a human. And you can save the practicing for when you're in your hotel room. Just make sure you put the do not disturb sign on. You do not want those weird looks from housekeeping, trust me. If you were to experience an earthquake and you're inside, get under something and hold on to a heavy piece of furniture. If you're outside, get as far away from the building as possible. While major earthquakes are a rare occurrence in the Holy City, one thing that is not is the extreme heat in the summer months. In fact, temperatures have reached at least 95 degrees Fahrenheit nearly every single year since 1893. High humidity can make these temperatures feel more like 100+ degrees, and humidity and heat in the Lowcountry go hand in hand. Most of Charleston's charm is the beautiful outdoors, but the risk of heat exhaustion or heat stroke can make the sidewalk stroll kinda risky. Here's Randy again to tell us what it's like being in the summer heat.
Andy, it's so hot. My rotisserie chicken fried itself on the way here.
Are you feeling all right? You look kind of flushed.
I feel like a sponge every time I just keep wringing myself out and there's always more sweat. I haven't felt this faint and nauseous since I won that all-you-can-eat burrito contest at the gas station.
Ew. Well, you've always liked adventure. Anyways, it sounds like you're experiencing heat exhaustion. I think you need some water and some AC.
Oh, that is a fantastic idea. Why didn't I think of that? Get out of my house! Who the heck are you?
Playing too hard in Charleston's extreme heat is a bit like playing with fire. Heat exposure is preventable, but still hundreds die every year from heat-related illness. In hot summer months, it's important to stay hydrated and to limit your sun exposure even when you're out seeing the sights. And never leave children or pets in the car unattended, even when temperatures are mild. Explorers who want relief from extreme summer temperatures may seek refuge on or near the water. The ocean and river breezes mean temperatures are often lower than the surrounding area, and a refreshing swim can give your body a chance to cool off. But no place is completely safe for the Charleston tourist. Randy is on site at the beach. Tell us, are you excited to venture out into the ocean?
Andy, I am not going in there. Randy, signing off.
But Randy, you're supposed to be telling our viewers how to have a safe low-country adventure.
And I'm telling you, I am not putting my toes in there, all right? Jellyfish, stingrays, sharks, weird kids on vacation. You can't even see what you're getting into, and it is very big. This is Randy signing off.
Well, yes, those are all real risks in the ocean, and don't forget about rip currents that can take you out to sea.
Yep, I am keeping my toes in the sand. I don't like the looks of those teenagers. This is Randy signing off.
Okay, well, thanks for nothing, Randy. Randy is missing out on his ocean adventure, but it doesn't mean you need to. Just remember to stay alert and heed warnings. The waves and currents can sometimes have surprising strength, and though harm from wildlife is not common, it is possible.
There's a lot of water in Charleston, and so when you're out with water, of course, a big concern is always drowning. If you've got small children, always have somebody as a basically appointed lifeguard that's watching the pool, watching the kids at all times. That's always on point to be the protector. Switch off, take turns with other family or friends that are watching the pool, just like you might do if you were a lifeguard, where you're taking turns and somebody's always on point.
What we want to do is we want to talk about how to do CPR. So if we have somebody who we find that's unresponsive, that they don't seem to be waking up, right? The first thing that we want to do is try to wake them up. Hey, you okay? Wake up, wake up. If they don't wake up, then the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to call 911. And of course, when you call 911, the dispatcher is going to ask you lots and lots of questions. What's important to do is to remember to just keep answering their questions, stay on the phone with them, don't hang up. And the very first question they're going to ask you is going to be, where are you? What's your location? So make sure you know where you are. Make sure you know the name of the hotel if you're staying at a hotel, or make sure if you're staying with friends and relatives that you know that address so that you can report that address to them as quickly as possible. So to do CPR, we're going to take both our hands. We're going to put one on top of the other one. We're going to use the heel of your hand, and we're just going to go for the center of their chest, and we're going to push hard and fast. So we want to push at least 100 compressions a minute. So it's around to the tune of like Staying Alive, or one of my personal favorites, Baby Shark. And you want to make sure that you're pushing about two inches deep into the chest. And then when you're coming off, you want to make sure that you're allowing full recoil off of the chest, right? We want to come all the way off and bring that pressure off of the chest. When we're talking about CPR, a lot of the push right now is for hands-only CPR. We want people to do compressions until, 1, the person wakes up, 2, help arrives and takes over, or 3, you just get too physically exhausted to continue. Compressions alone rarely convert somebody and get their heart restored to a beating rhythm again. Wherever you are, if it's a public building or public spaces, there's going to be something called an AED. An AED is an automated external defibrillator. What that's going to do is it's going to send an electrical shock to the heart to help restart the heart. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the device on, and it's going to talk to us and it's going to tell us what to do. First step is removing clothing, right? Because I've got to get to bare skin. Tell me to open the packet and apply the pads. So I'm going to take my pads out. It's got pictures on it. It's going to show me where on the person that I want to put those stickers. So I'm going to take those stickers and I'm going to start applying them onto the person. This is where it's analyzing the rhythm. In this case, it's advising that a shock is needed. And as soon as we give them that shock, we're going to go straight back into doing those compressions again.
We want to make sure that people have a fun, safe time. We don't want anybody to have a bad vacation or a bad time in Charleston. We want them to have a great time. But we just ask, be safe, be cognizant of what's going on.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Charleston's water resources are a big reason visitors come to the Lowcountry. As well as ocean and beaches, rivers and lakes cover the landscape. Far from a leisurely escape, these area waterways offer levels of excitement sure to get your blood pumping. Stretching out from the ocean, local rivers weave their way inland. Even here, visitors still need to be aware of outgoing tides, swift currents, and sudden severe weather. And yes, close encounters with dangerous wildlife is still a real possibility. Be on the lookout for venomous snakes, biting spiders, and be careful swimming anywhere that alligators live, which is, well, mostly everywhere. They kind of act like they own the place, and really, I'm not going to be the one that tell them they don't. Pit vipers and coral snakes can be found on hiking trails and even in residents' backyards. Some, like the cottonmouth, prefer freshwater areas in the swamp. There are dozens of species of harmless snakes as well. When it comes to alligators, you can find them in rivers, swamps, retention ponds, golf courses, and even sometimes at the beach. Normally they'll stay away from humans, as long as they don't feel threatened or think there's a chance for an easy meal. Knowing the possibility of a close encounter of this kind can be pretty exciting, and there's no need to fear. Just make sure to give these animals their space. Just act like they're collecting signatures for a petition and go the other way. No thank you, I gave at the office. Wait, what? Well, it seems Randy is back. Randy, wait, are you at the swamp? Man, you travel really fast.
Forget all that, Andy. You'll never believe what just happened. I got to see an alligator.
Well, Randy, actually, I do believe it. Alligators are pretty common.
The long snout, the tiny eyes. It was so exciting. I took a selfie.
Wow, Randy, that is amazing.
I love exploring the low country. What a thrill.
Well, Randy does have the right idea. Enjoy at a distance. Anyway, I think Randy has made it clear you're never very far from the water when you're in the low country. In fact, fairly often it'll come to find you. And if you time your visit just right, you could be in for an astronomical treat. Perigean spring tides, locally known as king tides, are higher than normal tides that occur when the moon is closest to the Earth. The extra gravitational force can sometimes cause coastal flooding, even on bright and sunny days. But it doesn't take a cosmic event to cause significant flooding in the low country. Summertime especially sees sudden and sometimes large storms that can dump large amounts of rain and push storm surge onto city streets. All of this excess water can overflow marshes and creeks, overwhelm storm drains, and cause floodwaters that linger long after a storm may have passed. Whoa, this is unexpected. Randy is back.
Andy, I'm so glad you're here. I am currently witnessing an amazing local custom.
What is it?
Oh, let's just say this is a local gem that only insiders are privy to. Today, I have been invited to paddleboard with the natives right down the middle of the road. Now, I fell off the board a couple of times, but the water is so refreshing.
Wait, are the streets flooded? I don't know if you know this.
I gotta go.
But
Trent is calling me. It's fun, Andy. You shouldn't have stayed in the studio.
Well, Randy may not realize that the flooding in the low country doesn't mean the sea has moved into the neighborhood. A lot of time, that water is coming from below.
What was that? Sounded important.
Poo, Randy. You're swimming in poo.
Dang it. This happens to me every time on vacation. It's like that burrito eating contest all over again. Come on, I fell down again. Oh, God, it's in my nose.
Poor Randy. Well, just know it's important to avoid floodwaters if you're in a car, on foot, or on a paddleboard. It's important to recognize that not all floods are created equal. Tourist season in Charleston, South Carolina overlaps with another important season in the Southeast, the season for hurricanes. The hurricane might be thought of as the mother of all natural hazards, creating numerous other hazards in its wake. Thankfully, though, you can see these things coming. If you plan on visiting South Carolina's low country in the months of June through November, it's important to keep an eye on the forecast in the weeks leading up to your trip. If a hurricane watch or a warning is issued when you are in the area, you may need to curb your exploring and go into survivor mode. Oh yeah, well, I guess we still have the correspondent on payroll.
Andy, I have just got word that Hurricane Rashford is heading this way. I finally get to use my survivor supplies. I got canned goods, a manual can opener, plenty of water, a first aid kit, and some candles, extra batteries.
Wow, that's a surprisingly good hurricane kit.
Oh, that's just the rookie kit. I also have an inflatable raft shaped like a flamingo in case it floods, but I still want to look pretty cool. A bunch of balloons that I can use as signal for help or to cheer me up. Makeup kit because they're always interviewing people about the storm and I want to look my best. Birthday supplies in case the flooding lasts until my birthday next month. An inflatable neck pillow like you got on a plane because I get tired. A flare gun for emergencies and firework for festive emergencies.
I don't think you need all of that. Randy, I just got word that the storm has shifted course and will not be making landfall where you are.
I'm not going to pretend that I wasn't excited about using my kit, but guess I can just throw it away.
Wait, Randy,
I'm gonna burn
you
it.
can save a lot of the important stuff for another storm. Randy? Hello? Oh well. It's risky business being a tourist in Charleston, but fortune favors the bold. Stick around for more adventurous advice next on Hazard.
This barricade is here for a reason. This barricade is here because what's behind it will kill you. Barricades, don't move them, don't drive around them, don't die. Turn around, don't drown.
Every adventurer needs a little breathing room. Me, I have no idea how to relax. But these curators of calm are experts at leisurely strolls, comforting meals, and entertainment that makes up the more mild side of the Lowcountry visit. So just in case you need a little breather from all this excitement, let's find out what else the Lowcountry has to offer today's tourist. What do I know about vacationing in Charleston? I've only lived here for 33 years, so I roped in an expert to help me plan a trip to the Holy City. I got Doug Warner, who's the Vice President of Media Innovation with Explore Charleston. Hey, Doug.
Howdy.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
All right, I'm wore out. I need to relax. What do I do?
Well, I think it depends on what you consider relaxing. Is that going to a soccer game at the new Battery Stadium or a baseball game at the Joe? Or is your idea more of relaxing, sitting on the beach and watching the sunset?
Oh man, I could definitely get behind the baseball game or the soccer game.
Well, so Charleston is a sports town, but just walking down the street sometime is incredibly relaxing and beautiful because it's this constant dance between light and water and color, and with the backdrop of these historic buildings and cobblestone streets and just all of this stuff that no other community in our country can offer. So I think you got to follow your passion, and if it's sports, do that.
Absolutely.
If it's walking around by yourself and kind of contemplating life, there are great places to do that too.
Doug, you've seen it in my soul.
It's scary in there.
Yeah, right. No, it's you want trust me, try living with it. let's say I'm feeling a little adventurous and I want to do something that's not like all the touristy stuff. Like like the horse carriages are great, but I want to do something that's off the beaten path. What would you recommend?
Well, we're surrounded by this green belt, whether it be the Ace Basin or the Beadler Forest or the Francis Marion. So our topography and climate is conducive to outdoor activities year round. So if you're a kayaker, hop in a kayak and hit Shem Creek and, go see where oysters come from, or throw a shrimp net, or do some fishing, or kiteboarding, or you name it. If it's outside, we're the perfect spot for it.
Do you ever deal directly with questions from tourists or like recommendations and things like that?
That's part of our job is interacting with, we call them visitors.
Good to know.
And finding out what their interests are and answering questions about where to eat or what kind of tour to take, or their thing is golf and they didn't know that the first golf course in America was actually in our community.
Absolutely, built by the Scottish after they built the Presbyterian Church.
Imagine that, right? On the Charleston Green.
Well, it's not. It's just not golf if you're not skipping church to do it. That's why they built both of those.
True. That's a good point.
What is like the weirdest either request or weird? Like, okay, that's what you want to do. I don't know how to help you. Like, what's the weirdest thing they've ever asked for?
Oh,
or asked
wow.
about?
Occasionally they'll get us confused with Charleston, West Virginia and ask about snow skiing, which
like,
all of us know in July is not possible
not
here.
so much.
That's the only thing you can't do in Charleston, right, is snow ski.
I love that they confuse it with Charleston. Like, hey, I'd like to take a coal mine tour. Like, we don't recommend digging down too deep here.
Yeah, you're going to get wet if you're going to dig a hole.
If I want a close encounter with some wildlife that's not, I don't want to go to the aquarium. I want to see something cool out in the wild. Like, what do I go do?
Are you a danger junkie?
Oh, man,
or
let's do it. Hit me.
All right, so it's got to be an alligator,
yeah,
right? So I
let me
would
get that gator.
Yeah, go to one of the county parks or out to Kiowa and look in any lagoon, and you're sure to see or have an interaction with a gator. But for sure, don't get too close, because they can run 50 miles an hour on the land, and that's
I cannot
faster
do that.
than
Yeah,
you.
I'm about to say I cannot do that.
But if you're looking for something a little less dramatic, there's nothing better than being out on a boat in the harbor or in one of our vistas at sunset and watching dolphins feed. And so that's probably the most colloquial, amazing experience you'll find.
It's beautiful scenery. What about the people of Charleston? Like, so people that aren't directly connected to the hospitality industry, because like they're paid to be nice. What about like, you know, Southern hospitality? How true of a thing is that?
You know, hospitality is our business, but it is also this community. And you don't get #1 rankings in Condé Nast and Travel and Leisure and Southern Living. Every time we ask the editors kind of how did we compare to our peers, the #1 thing that gets us over the top every time is our people. Is because we really are a hospitality-driven people at heart. We want people to come and enjoy our community. We want them to be respectful, right, of boundaries and keep it clean and safe and ruly. But I think mostly Charlestonians love showing off their community to visitors.
Nice.
And that's the thing that kind of gets us over the top every time.
So I have family from out of state, and they're always like, "Oh, we want to come down," but then they like see hurricanes, and they see a heat index of 110, and they're just like, and then they find out there's alligators everywhere. They're like, "I don't know, it doesn't seem that safe." What would you say to them?
I think our community is incredibly safe, but here, just like anywhere else, the onus is on us to be educated, right? And so we're now in July, leading into August and September, which is peak hurricane season for us. It could be the same thing for an earthquake or any type of natural or man-made disaster. Safety for ourselves and our family should always be front of mind. You need to know where you're going, where to tune in for news that is accurate and up to date, so that in the event something happened, you would know what to do. And I think it's always a great idea to have in your car kind of emergency preparedness kit and some water and something to eat, especially if you're traveling with young kids.
Nice. If you're trying to sound hip, that's called a bug out bag.
A bug out bag?
Yeah, it's a little of that doomsday prep stuff.
Okay, well, one of those.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Let's go.
All right. Bar crawl at night or ghost tour?
Ghost tour.
Nice one, nice one. Oyster roast or shrimp and grits?
Oyster roast.
Nice, I like it. Live music or live comedy?
Comedy, for sure.
Excellent. All right, I was worried, Doug. I'm a comedian in town. You were gonna hurt my feelings. Alligator or snake?
Alligator.
If you're eating, alligator or snake?
Alligator.
All right, fair enough.
I'm not doing snake anywhere.
Yeah, you're like, nope, I'm good. Mosquitoes, gnats, or no-see-ums?
A bug spray.
Good call. Good call. A little citronella candle. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming, Doug. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Well, Doug and I are going to go play golf, so I got to get going. And if this interview has taught me anything, I'll probably see an alligator and need some bug spray. Stick around. This is Hazard. Earthquakes, alligators, sweaty alligators. These might not be the reasons you visit the Lowcountry. They're like the cherry on top. There's no denying this area has a lot of appeal for every type of tourist. The local hazards add a little edge of excitement, and understanding how to be safe when faced with these can lead to the best vacation ever. So let's recap what we've learned. If you visit anytime between May and October, make sure to bring your summer clothes. And this is the time to break out the loudest Hawaiian shirts. If it has flamingos or bananas on it, bonus points. The weather is usually beautiful, but it can be very hot. You may want to keep outdoor excursions kind of brief, and the humidity can feel like you're walking around in a sponge. The local news will make you aware of heat advisories, watches, or warnings. Be sure to learn the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke, and drink plenty of water. If you do want to enjoy our beautiful outdoors, consider spending time at area beaches or rivers. Sea breezes will make these areas quite a bit cooler than any time in the city. Whether you swim in a guarded area or not, always be aware of rip currents. A rip current is a strong, narrow current that flows out to sea. If you get caught in a rip current, you may feel like you should swim towards the shore, but in fact you should swim parallel to the shore until you no longer feel the pull. If you get tired, float on your back until you're released. You can spot a rip current from the beach by noticing a break in the wave pattern or seeing choppier or different colored water. If you see foam or seaweed moving out to sea, it's being pulled out by a rip current. If you decide to try boating, there are lots of rules and safety protocols, so consider taking a course if you have little experience. Boating on large saltwater rivers does not compare to boating on a lake or smaller inland rivers. Now, if you encounter water on the roadways, do not, under any circumstances, attempt to drive through it. This is not an action movie and you are not The Rock. And of course, don't walk through floodwaters either. It's not good for you or your health. Local news sources can give you a heads up if flooding is expected or has occurred. The Tide Eye tool on the City of Charleston's website can give you up-to-date information on weather conditions, high and low tides, and road closures. CharlestonCounty.org and FEMA.gov can also give you information to help you plan your day. These sites will let you know if there's a risk of hurricane or tropical storms as well. Remember, even a Category 1 hurricane is dangerous, and you should take this opportunity to reschedule your visit when the skies are a bit fairer. If a mandatory evacuation is ordered, do not stick around. But don't worry, there are way more fair weather days than there are hurricane days, and there are way more adventures to be had than hazards that lurk in the Lowcountry. Hopefully now you can face unflinching all that we have to offer. Please enjoy your stay, and thank you for watching. This is Hazard.